At 9, going to learn about plans for bike trails in parts of southeast Kansas.
President Biden back out on the road to push for more government spending, but Republicans say it will lead to runaway inflation. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. More on what the president had to say coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. A man charged in Jasper County for child sex crimes is found guilty. Authorities say Daniel Chavez molested multiple minors since 2006. He was arrested in 2019. Today, a jury found Chavez guilty of first-degree statutory sodomy, child molestation, and furnishing pornographic materials to a minor. City of Neosho is sending a message to Newton County officials. The city wants its TIF payments. The city filed a suit alleging the county withheld TIF monies owed to Neosho. The city says these payments were agreed on years ago and were paid until 2015. The city says it plans to use the funds for public improvement projects, including safety improvements near I-49. In a statement, Newton County commissioners say they are disappointed to receive the summons from the city. They say the city did not file required invoices to receive those TIF payments. A separate lawsuit alleges Newton County first responders didn't do enough to save the life of a man who died in police custody back in 2018. The lawsuit filed in federal court names a number of Newton County personnel, including paramedics, police officers, and corrections officers. It was filed by Christina Stockton. She's the mother of Forrester Stockton. He died in 2018 at the Newton County Jail with what an autopsy showed was acute methamphetamine intoxication. You can read more about this lawsuit and a lawsuit the city of Neosho filed against the county on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Thrive Allen County's new bike and trails coordinator. Some big plans for the county and beyond. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with John Leahy about his new job and vision for area bike trails.
John Leahy has been on the job for Thrive Allen County for about 2 months now and has really hit the ground running for the Rural Health Advocacy Organization as their new bike and trails coordinator.
John is really taking all of our bike and trails programming to the next level. We're really excited for all of the things that he's going to be able to implement in Allen County and across the region.
The bike and trails coordinator wears a lot of hats as he organizes volunteers for trail maintenance projects, develops new community trails, and works with Thrive Allen County's bike share program and Earn a Bike program. But John's most ambitious project is one that reaches beyond Allen County, Kansas.
We have been traveling to Bourbon County recently to promote the Prairie Pathways bike routes, which is formerly the ABC Trails Plan. You can look that up. It is just an effort to create some of these smaller rural communities together through the bike routes and already existing bike routes through Allen County, Bourbon County, and Crawford County.
John is especially excited about the Prairie Pathways plan because it will benefit the economies of multiple Kansas communities while promoting a healthy hobby to four-staters and tourists.
It's going to be a 43-mile route from Fort Scott to Iola, running along Old Highway 54, and it should be really neat once all the signs get put in. We're then looking to talk with Crawford County about extending the route down there.
John says one of the best parts of his new job is being outdoors and meeting new people, and that the Prairie Pathways project will bring those joys to four-staters with a passion for biking and hiking. In Allen County, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Thrive Allen County is always looking for volunteers to help maintain their trails. If you'd like to get involved, you can find a link to their webpage in this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Missouri Southern football team met up with some old friends today. Actually, they're young, but the friendship, I guess you could call, is kind of old. Students from some Joplin area elementary schools. Now, last month, the team visited some schools as lunch and recess buddies for the students. Did the same today. The team also gave the students pink tickets, which can give them free admission to tomorrow's game against Central Missouri and also raise awareness of breast cancer.
You know, this is our first year doing it, so we're kind of just testing the waters and seeing, which has been a great response by the community, and we're hoping to kind of develop it as we go along. And Coach Atiba Bradley is establishing these ties in the community that he already has been for so long, you know.
Tomorrow's game against Central Missouri, by the way, kicks off at 4 p.m. Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine booster get a thumbs up from an FDA advisory panel. The endorsement coming a day after the panel endorsed Moderna's booster for at-risk groups. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis has more.
An FDA vaccine advisory panel met Friday to discuss Johnson & Johnson's COVID booster shot. They unanimously voted to recommend booster doses of the single-shot COVID-19 vaccine at least 2 months after the first dose.
There is a public health imperative here because what we're seeing is that this is a group with overall lower efficacy than we have seen with the mRNA vaccine.
During Friday's debate, Johnson & Johnson presented efficacy data to the panel, including new research published in the New England Journal of Medicine, which found the body's antibody response stays lower but steadier after the J&J vaccine. Researchers say levels spiked sharply and then fell off with Pfizer's and Moderna's formulas.
We want to provide optimal protection against COVID, and we know that a booster dose will do that. It will increase efficacy against severe disease.
Meanwhile, the debate over COVID vaccine mandates continues. Starting today, Chicago City employees must report their vaccination status, but the new policy has put Chicago's police union at odds with Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Up to half of the city's rank-and-file police officers could be placed on unpaid leave over the dispute.
I don't know what would happen around here if we had half of the cops not at work.
It's a simple yes or no. Yes, you're vaccinated. No, you're not vaccinated.
As for booster shots, the CDC says about 9 million Americans have received the extra dose. In New York, Jerry Willis, Fox News.
President Biden saying he does not think Democrats are going to get the full $3.5 trillion price tag of his Build Back Better bill. Still, his traveling sales pitch continues for his legislation, even as his administration is growing frustrated with his own party. Fox's Lauren Blanchard is in D.C. now with more.
These bills, in my view, are literally about competitiveness versus complacency.
President Biden going to class in Connecticut to again make the case for two spending packages, one that deals with traditional infrastructure and the other with what Democrats call human infrastructure, including child care.
But somehow along the way, we sort of stopped investing in our people.
The White House has reportedly become frustrated with the snail pace of negotiations between moderates who want a lower price tag on the Build Back Better bill and progressives who want more.
We're not going to get $3.5 trillion. We'll get less than that, but we're going to get it. And we're going to come back and get the rest.
Stuck in the middle, the bipartisan infrastructure bill.
Despite the overwhelming support of the American people and the president and Congress, we have two members who have not yet on board.
Senator Sinema actually has more leverage than President Biden.
Republicans argue more government spending isn't needed, that stimulus checks have left consumers flush with cash, and they're spending it. Friday morning, the Commerce Department announced September's retail sales increased 0.7%, far exceeding expectations. It comes amid fears of shortages of merchandise and workers ahead of the holidays.
This is a really complex ecosystem. We all need to work together.
Democratic leaders set an end-of-the-month deadline to pass both bills. It's also when a temporary extension for highway and transit funding will run out again. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Daniel Groves served in the U.S. Navy. Native of Scammon, Kansas, Groves was stationed in Iraq, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Daniel Groves. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, we're going to hear from the Pitt State Gorillas on tomorrow's homecoming game against Lincoln.
Well, it turned out to be a fairly gloomy day, but then we got the sunshine late in the afternoon into the evening hours, and it actually turned out to be a nice fall Friday evening, of course, heading into the weekend. It looks pretty good, which is good. We're going to see a great weekend. Fantastic temperatures, a little chilly on the start tomorrow. Great shot Friday night, of course, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at our temps. We are dropping. It's chilly, anywhere from 48 in Nevada. It's still 50 in Anderson. We have Pittsburgh sitting at 46, 49 in Miami, 47 out west in Neodesha. But all in all, it looks pretty good across most of the Central Plains. At least we got all the rain out of here. But look at the cool temperatures. So we aren't alone. Everybody across the Central Plains, kind of chilly, but also very typical for for this time of the year. It's been windy all day long, north winds, but now the winds are coming down. They're diminishing, so near calm to 5-6 miles per hour or so. But all in all, it looks pretty good. 7th and Rangeline looking northwest. Outside, clear skies up top, setting at 47. Southwest winds are light. Humidity is up there. May get a little bit of patchy fog once again for us tonight. I don't think near as thick is what we did see last night into the morning hours, but a little bit of patchy fog. Nothing going on here, all the rain racing off toward the east. And if we look out west, there's nothing out there. So here's our weather Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Then we'll get a system in here by the middle of next week. But until then, it looks pretty good. It is going to be chilly tonight. I think most of us drop 38 to 40 degrees by morning. Fantastic day though. Sunny skies all day long. We'll get into the 60s by noon. I think most of us will top out 65 to about 67 degrees. Plenty of sunshine. 39 to start, 60 by noon, high temp at 65. Those northerly winds, not near as strong as what we saw today. They'll be light out of the north at about 5 to 10. As we go into tomorrow night, we'll drop back into the mid 40s, so not quite as chilly. We get southerly winds by the time Sunday rolls around. This helps us warm up a little bit more as we should go into the mid 70s for highs. But the weekend is going to be absolutely spectacular. Plenty of sunshine, great weekend to get outside. All right, let's go into early next week. Monday looks good. Tuesday looks good. We stay into the 70s. Here comes that weak system. Tuesday night into Wednesday, a cold front's going to shift through. Will give us a few showers, maybe even a few thunder showers. And then we'll cool back down behind this system for Thursday and Friday of next week. But really, it's pretty quiet over the next 7 days. 65 tomorrow, 73 on Sunday, 76 on Monday, up to 78 by Tuesday. And then those few showers on Wednesday, back into the 60s on Thursday and Friday. Jordan?
All right, Doug, thanks so much. Next, an unmanned drone delivering lungs for a transplant for the first time ever. Former President Bill Clinton is in a California hospital recovering from what we're being told, a non-COVID related infection. Clinton's spokesperson says, quote, he's on the mend, in good spirits, and is incredibly thankful to the doctors, nurses, and staff providing him with excellent care. And added, he's responding well to antibiotics. Well, a former student charged in the 2018 shooting rampage at a Parkland, Florida high school that left 17 people dead appeared in court today. Attorneys for Nicholas Cruz told the judge he will change his not guilty plea for the killings to a guilty plea at a hearing set for next week. The 23-year-old spoke at today's hearing and pleaded guilty to separate charges involving the assault of a jail guard. Well, for the first time anywhere, an unmanned drone has delivered lungs for a transplant. The historic flight took place in Toronto between two hospitals. Reporter Michael George has more on the innovative technology.
This drone flying over Toronto could be the future of organ delivery for transplants. Last month, it carried precious cargo, a set of lungs from one hospital to another.
It's a heavily populated city, and we had to do several prior test flights to persuade the air traffic control authorities that this was a safe way to deliver the lung.
The transplant flight is a result of a collaboration between U.S. company United Therapeutics and Canada's University Health Network. The team designed a special container so the organs could withstand in-flight conditions, such as vibrations and bumps.
We had to make sure that we could maintain a stable temperature. Lungs are very delicate and they're filled with air. And if there's changes in barometric pressure, that could affect the lung.
Surgeon Dr. Shaf Kashavji says this technology will allow more organs to be available to patients in the future.
One of the challenges now is getting transport and getting transport in a timely fashion and a reliable fashion. And even today, we sometimes lose an organ because we can't get there in time and can't get it back in time.
I was thrilled by the idea of participating. I'm by profession, I'm an engineer, so I'm a technical guy.
63-year-old Elaine Hodak received the lungs that flew over Toronto. He has an incurable lung disease.
I was running out of time. Now I'm feeling amazing. I can breathe. I have a new lease on life.
And the team believes drone organ deliveries will change thousands of lives in the coming years. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Isn't that something? All right, next, what would be a major change to the nation's Supreme Court?
Should we expand the number of justices on the U.S. Supreme Court? President Biden's commission on the court is now weighing in. I'm Doug Luzader in Washington. We'll have more on what they're saying coming up.
The latest CDC data shows 1 in 6 American adults binge drink. And of those people, about a quarter of them do it weekly. The agency defines binge drinking as 5 or more drinks for men in one sitting and 4 or more drinks for women. New research finds some sunscreens lose their effectiveness and become harmful even during sun exposure. A joint study out of England and Oregon finds zinc oxide, the main ingredient in many sunscreens, is effective on its own at blocking ultraviolet rays. But after it's been exposed to the sun for just 2 hours, the mineral destroys the UVA protection provided by other ingredients in the sunscreens and raises the level of toxicity. President Biden's Supreme Court Commission met today, but its findings are likely to disappoint progressives who are hoping to radically alter the nation's higher court. Doug Luzader has more from Washington, where the commissioner's draft report is already making some waves.
Now, this commission is pretty skeptical of the idea of court packing, adding justices to the court to change the ideological balance, and that may put them in sync with Joe Biden from nearly 40 years ago.
It was a bonehead idea.
Senator Joe Biden, back in 1983, called court packing a bonehead idea. His Supreme Court Commission, which has been meeting virtually for months now, is a little more diplomatic, but it seems to lean the same way, saying the risks of court expansion are considerable.
President Biden previously said that packing the court was a boneheaded idea. That hasn't changed.
Law professor Jonathan Turley says the commission was designed to buy Biden time, assembling a group of academics to examine changes to the court in response to liberals who were outraged at Republican efforts to shift the court's balance. Some wanted to add justices to shift that balance back.
So it's a legitimate discussion to have.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was still open to the idea yesterday, but the commission does consider other options, including term limits, which appears to have more support. Even that would be difficult, though, and could require that a divided Congress sign off. This comes as the court is starting what could be an explosive new term, considering abortion and gun rights cases, among others. And the White House is quick to take the commission's findings with a grain of salt.
It is an assessment. It is not a recommendation.
And a recent Gallup poll, meantime, shows that Supreme Court approval is now down to just 40%. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Coming up, all right, it's Friday, of course. Going to include some smashing pumpkins in tonight's newscast. A visit to the Oregon Zoo when we come back. Thought that beer and blue cheese have been enjoyed by Europeans as far back as nearly 3,000 years. That finding now coming from an unlikely source, ancient feces. Scientists analyzed samples of preserved human excrement found at underground salt mines in Western Austria and found 2 fungi that are used to produce blue cheese and beer. The findings are giving researchers insight into how sophisticated culinary practices were in Iron Age Europe. Blue cheese, stuff is good. All right, some early Halloween fun over at the Oregon Zoo. This is how the zoo's elephants spent their day yesterday. They all took part in the 23rd annual squishing of the squash. Now, with social distancing still in place across Portland, the zoo wasn't able to hold a public viewing for the event this year, but even without crowds, the elephants still had fun, as you can tell. Before being crushed, each of these pumpkins weighed several hundred pounds. Yeah, they look big. They look huge, don't they? They were all donated by 2 members of the Pacific Giant Vegetable Growers Club. How about that? You know, you got to enjoy some smashing pumpkins without even paying for a concert ticket. It's my Friday night humor. I'm sorry. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Good to hear how, at this stage of the pandemic, people are going to be taking part in Halloween festivities. Plus, Pitt State honoring a couple of its alumni who have achieved a high level of professional success. Halloween just a few weeks away now. Dr. Anthony Fauci saying trick-or-treating outdoors can be relatively safe. KOAM's Brian Sorotsky spoke with area health experts to see if they agree and how they recommend to celebrate safely with current case numbers.
I think that particularly if you're vaccinated, but you can get out there. You're outdoors for the most part.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top disease expert, is giving kids the green light to break out the costumes and candy for Halloween this year. And local health experts in Southwest Missouri agree.
Yeah, I was happy to hear Dr. Fauci said that everybody should enjoy Halloween, the holidays coming up. And certainly in our part of southwest Missouri, our numbers now are at 45 active cases in Newton County.
Joplin residents are even more excited to know that Halloween can be enjoyed this year safely.
Excited to be back out here. We've added some new things to it. So yeah, we're just really excited for everyone to see it and be out here.
Donna Stokes, infection disease preventionist at Mercy Hospital, says she agrees with Dr. Fauci.
So, fortunately for our community, we're starting to see a trend downward in our number of COVID cases. That doesn't mean that it's gone. There's still virus circulating. So for Halloween, it really is looking good for the kiddos to be able to get out and do some trick-or-treating this year and do it safely.
With the virus still in the area as well as flu season approaching, Stokes still recommends taking proper safety measures.
Go out, do that trick-or-treating, and enjoy Halloween this year. Go in small groups. Outside activities are great. Inside activities, you still want to be cautious.
But health experts say we're in a better place to enjoy Halloween and other upcoming holidays than we were last year. In Newton County, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Area health experts still recommend being vaccinated against COVID-19 if eligible, and also getting this year's flu shot to stay protected. Pittsburgh State today honoring 2 former graduates with the Outstanding Alumni Award. Shelley Sorer earned an MBA and is now the CEO of Common Spirit Health's Northern Division. And Michael Gray got 3 bachelor's degrees and is Assistant General Counsel at Watco.
I don't necessarily feel like I match up with some of the other folks and some of the incredible accomplishments that they've had over the years. If you look at some of the past recipients, it's just amazing. But I'm here and I'm always going to be a gorilla. I'm a gorilla diehard through and through, and so it's just amazing.
The awards were handed out as part of PSU's Homecoming Week. Well, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation told state lawmakers this week it's received 215 tips about Catholic clergy's sexual abuse and opened 122 cases. KABI Executive Director Robert Jacobs told lawmakers a task force set up to investigate clergy abuse has reviewed almost 40,000 records since its work began in 2019. He says Catholic church leaders have cooperated with the effort. The KBI's Catholic Clergy Task Force was established at the request of Attorney General Derek Schmidt's office. Jacobs says investigators are not only interested in looking at the allegations themselves, they're also investigating what follow-through occurred after claims were reported. Well, retail sales rose in September as consumers went on a back-to-school spending spree. According to the Commerce Department, retail sales rose 0.7% last month. That was much better than expected. In fact, economists predicted that sales would decline. Butterball is recalling about 14,000 pounds of ground turkey products sold nationwide because they may contain small pieces of hard blue plastic. The ground turkey was produced in late September at a Butterball facility in North Carolina. They were sold under the Farm to Family and Kroger brands at certain BJ's and Kroger stores. If you think you may have some in your freezer, you're urged to either toss it or return it. A British lawmaker stabbed to death inside a local church has London reeling over the loss of yet another politician. His death marks the second murder of a sitting British lawmaker in just 5 years. Fox News correspondent Benjamin Hall has the latest from London.
Across London, flags lowered to half-staff Friday, honouring British lawmaker David Amess. The Conservative Member of Parliament had been holding a regular meeting with constituents at a local church when a man walked in and stabbed the 69-year-old multiple times. Amess died at the scene.
David was a man who believed passionately in this country and in its future.
Police say they arrested a 25-year-old man on suspicion of murder at the scene, saying they recovered a knife and were not looking for any additional suspects.
It will be for investigators to determine whether or not this is a terrorist incident. But as always, they will keep an open mind.
On social media, tributes poured in honouring Amess. London's mayor writing, "All parties are united in grief and horror at the loss of a much respected colleague." The leader of the main opposition Labour Party added, "This is a dark and shocking day. The whole country will feel it acutely, perhaps the more so because we have, heartbreakingly, been here before." In June 2016, Labour Party lawmaker Jo Cox was killed by a far-right extremist, stabbed and shot to death in her Northern England constituency. Even then, her family urged for peace.
And to focus on, as Joe would say, that which unites us and not which divides us.
A fellow British lawmaker, Chris Bryant, says that after 2 murders in just 5 years, it's time to start getting serious about security for British members of Parliament. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
Another deadly terror attack has struck Afghanistan just weeks after U.S. troops pulled out. Taliban officials say suicide bombers attacked a Shiite mosque packed with worshippers attending Friday prayers in southern Afghanistan, killing at least 47 people, wounding 70. There is no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack, but it does come a week after another mosque bombing claimed by the Islamic State. And a bit later, looking beyond the headlines into a resignation.
An NFL head coach's emails lead to his resignation, but also questions about the league's transparency. I'm Matt Napolitano. I'll have the details.
Well, it turned out to be a fairly gloomy day, but then we got the sunshine late in the afternoon into the evening hours, and it actually turned out to be a nice fall Friday evening. Of course, heading into the weekend. It looks pretty good, which is good. We're going to see a great weekend. Fantastic temperatures, a little chilly on the start tomorrow. Great shot Friday night, of course, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at our temps. We are dropping. It's chilly. Anywhere from 48 in Nevada, it's still 50 in Anderson. We have Pittsburgh sitting at 46, 49 in Miami, 47 out west in Neodesha. But all in all, it looks pretty good across most of the Central Plains. At least we got all the rain out of here. But look at the cool temperatures. So we aren't alone. Everybody across the Central Plains, kind of chilly, but also very typical for this time of the year. It's been windy all day long, north winds, but now the winds are coming down. They're diminishing, so near calm to 5-6 miles per hour or so. But all in all, it looks pretty good. 7th and Rangeline looking northwest. Outside, clear skies up top, sitting at 47. Southwest winds are light. Humidity is up there. May get a little bit of patchy fog once again for us tonight. I don't think near as thick as what we did see last night into the morning hours, but a little bit of patchy fog. Nothing going on here. All the rain racing off toward the east. And if we look out west, there's nothing out there. So here's our weather Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Then we'll get a system in here by the middle of next week. But until then, it looks pretty good. It is going to be chilly tonight. I think most of us drop 38 to 40 degrees by morning. Fantastic day though. Sunny skies all day long. We'll get into the 60s by noon. I think most of us will top out 65 to about 67 degrees. Plenty of sunshine. 39 to start, 60 by noon, high temp of 65. Those northerly winds, not near as strong as what we saw today. They'll be light out of the north at about 5 to 10. As we go into tomorrow night, we'll drop back into the mid 40s, so not quite as chilly. We get southerly winds by the time Sunday rolls around. This helps us warm up a little bit more as we should go into the mid 70s for highs. But the weekend is going to be absolutely spectacular. Plenty of sunshine, great weekend to get outside. All right, let's go into early next week. Monday looks good. Tuesday looks good. We stay into the 70s. Here comes that weak system. Tuesday night into Wednesday, a cold front's going to shift through. Will give us a few showers, maybe even a few thunder showers, and then we'll cool back down behind this system for Thursday and Friday of next week. But really, it's pretty quiet over the next 7 days. 65 tomorrow, 73 on Sunday, 76. On Monday, up to 78 by Tuesday, and then those few showers on Wednesday, back into the 60s on Thursday and Friday. Jordan?
Thanks again. A new study finds horse riding poses a higher risk of injuries that require hospitalization than other sports, including football and skiing. Researchers from the University of Texas found that chest injuries were the most common horse riding injuries. All right, coming up in sports, going to hear from the Pitt State Gorillas on tomorrow's homecoming game against Lincoln. Also, a Carthage High School golf stand-up preparing for her 4th trip to the state tournament. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
This week is week 7 for MIAA football. Both the Pittsburgh State Gorillas and Missouri Southern Lions are at home tomorrow afternoon. Southern hosts Central Missouri, while Pittsburgh State welcomes in Lincoln. Now, the Gorillas have been dominant in their homecoming games in the past. They're 56, 13, and 2 all-time in homecoming games since 1949. You know, Pitt State always motivated to protect home field, but homecoming, when their families and friends show up, is always an extra special weekend.
Homecoming is big for the whole campus. You know, I'm not really a social guy. I don't get out and do too much, but my family will be here, and that's a blessing. I get to see them. They motivate me every day, you know. But everything I do is for them at the end of the day.
We're always excited to be at home and play in Kearney Smith in front of our fans and our players' families and so forth, so certainly always excited for that part of it.
In the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-3 to begin the season. Last week was a tough one for the Chiefs, falling at home 38-20 to the Buffalo Bills. This week, they're back on the road facing the Washington football team. Like we do every Friday night right now, it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, in this week's Minute with Mitch.
This start is not what the Chiefs Kingdom had in mind, but there might be a sneaky way to catch up. It's common knowledge that division matchups hold the highest priority in terms of tiebreakers. But what isn't so common is that a team can win its own division and have a losing record within its division. One of the reasons the Chiefs have won 5 straight AFC West titles is that they've generally dominated their cross-scheduling against the NFC. It's pertinent this week because the Chiefs are visiting the nation's capital to play the Washington football team. The Chiefs under Andy Reid in the last 5 years are 15-6 against NFC foes, while none of the other AFC West rivals have a winning record against the NFC. Sneaky Andy Reid. Go ahead and dominate the NFC and try to catch up on this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by KOAM Jewelry. Every day's game day, KOAM Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Sunday's game kicks off at noon on our sister station KOAM. Kansas City heads into the game as a 6.5-point favorite. Missouri High School Girls State Golf begins next week. Carthage senior Haley Bryant, she'll be there. Bryant is qualified for state for the 4th time in her high school career. She's a 4-time All-District performer and 4-time All-Conference selection. She also won a league championship this year. After a top 10 All-State finish last season, Bryant has bigger goals in her final trip to state next week.
My freshman year, I was extremely nervous and put a lot of pressure on myself for this, and because it's the highest place you could go. And now I'm just like, this is what I'm here to do. I've been working towards this goal, and I'm just ready to finally achieve it, basically. It's a lot less pressure in my mind now, and just a lot more of like me being ready to show people what I can do. I'm not really looking for anything in particular. I kind of just want to go have fun and just see the improvement from my freshman year to now. I'm really looking for that and just to put up a good round if I can.
You can check out our full story on the Toyota Sunday Night Sports feed Sunday night at 10 on KOAM. Now that's it for sports. Be sure to stick around after the news for Week 8 of Press Box here on Fox 14. It's 30 minutes, all football. We'll have highlights and scores from all across the area. We're back with more news after this.
Gruden stepped down as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this week, but his insensitive emails are leading to more questions. Fox's Matt Napolitano reports.
John Gruden handed in his resignation Monday, shortly after a New York Times report revealing leaked emails from the Las Vegas Raiders head coach, dating back to when he was not coaching in the NFL, but serving as a commentator. The emails containing sexist, racist, and homophobic remarks, for which Gruden apologized in a statement Monday evening, writing, quote, "I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone." Those leaked emails were uncovered as part of the NFL's investigation into allegations of workplace misconduct within the Washington football team, where Gruden's brother Jay previously served as head coach. Now the NFL Players Association is petitioning for the release of 650,000 additional emails connected to that investigation to see what else is in those documents. The investigation resulted in a $10 million fine for Washington, with high-ranking executives ordered to take sensitivity training, but little information offered otherwise. Gruden's former team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, also weighed in on the emails, announcing they would be removing his name from their Ring of Honor. In New York, Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Next, going to say goodbye to KOAM's general manager. We're saying goodbye to a leader here at KOAM. General Manager Danny Thomas is stepping aside after a long career.
We almost don't remember what a general manager did around here before, because he changed the job so much. The parameters are entirely different now.
Danny Thomas helped shape the TV station and the community it serves for more than a generation. He spent more than 33 years at KOAM and led the staff as general manager for 27 years.
People wanted to work hard for Danny. We wanted to do good for him and for the station. He had a way to solve problems effectively.
He was a leader who made us leaders.
It's very sad to see him go, but he's leaving quite a legacy.
Danny pioneered many special projects at KOAM, including the KOAM Toy Box and 4-State Hero program. He also created the blueprint for the area's 4th television station, Fox 14, that launched in 2003. His service to the community extended beyond broadcasting. Danny served as board chair for Mercy Hospital of Joplin for 5 years and currently serves on the Central Region Board of Directors for Sisters of Mercy. One of his proudest accomplishments came after the Joplin tornado, when he led the gifting of 66 acres of land to the city of Joplin, creating a new city park. He served on the boards of the Missouri Broadcasters Association and the Kansas Association of Broadcasters, which recently recognized his career, inducting him into the KAB Hall of Fame.
He's leaving the station in a great position. We're happy for him, and we're proud of what he's done for KOAM.
He was a good friend. I worked with him for 33 years, and to be together that long and to still call him a dear friend, weren't we the lucky ones?
Danny will now have more time with his wife Jana and their son Gabe. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of beavers bobbing for pumpkins at a zoo in Tacoma, Washington. Hey, have a great, safe weekend. Fox 14 Press Box is next. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.